Welcome to a new series I'm beginning. I'm calling this 1 Minute Solutions. I'm going to go over some random SAT problems and explain to you how to think through them to solve them quickly on the exam. Okay. I'm most likely going to pick ones that the College Board deemed as more difficult. They rate each problem on the level from 1 to 3, 3 being the most difficult. So I'm going to probably pick level 2 and 3 ones. Okay. Um, and there's no particular order that I'm going in. I'm just picking problems from past tests. In this specific video, I'm going to pick a problem from the 2020 PSAT exam. Okay. I'll try to mention which test I'm picking the problems from. All right, but otherwise there's no particular order. I'm just picking problems that I think are useful to explain, or I thought were interesting that they categorized as difficult when maybe they're not, at least to me. So I'll explain to you why I think they classify them as difficult or not. Okay, so number 31, they categorize this as difficult, level 3. This says the table above shows the frequencies for the 9 different values that occur in a 31 item data set. What is the median value of the data set? Okay, so I'm going to go through the concept that they're trying to test here, and then I'll go over a few methods to solve it. The first two methods are probably why they categorize it as difficult. It's just tedious, not per se actually hard. It's just tedious and requires more work than other problems. So it's highly prone to error because there's just more work to do. But I'll teach you a fast method. That's why this is called 1 minute solutions. You can get it within a minute, maybe even 30 seconds or less, if we think through the problems properly. Okay, so let's review what the concept of a median is. The median is the middle number of the data set. Median is a term of central tendency, which is just basically metrics that summarize a data set. So you might want to know like what the minimum is, the maximum is, the typical value is, which is average, what the median is, the middle term. For the 50th percentile, there's lots of terms to represent or call like average, you call it mean. Median is 50th percentile, there's interchangeable terms. But anyway, so this is just asking in this particular data set, what is the middle number? That's all it's asking. That's why it's not difficult, because we can just list out every single number. That's what I did over here. And this is the slowest method, which I don't recommend. And when you do this, they probably categorized it as difficult because you got to be really careful. There's 34, 33, sorry, there's 433. So you got to carefully list out 4 of them. And then there's 734. So you got to carefully list out 7 of them. Don't do any more. Don't do any less. 35, there's 6 of them, so on and so forth. There's 31 numbers in this data set. You got to list out all 31. Be careful. That's probably why this is difficult. And then to find the middle number, by the way, it has to be in sequential order, which this already is. So that helps us out at least. Now we start crossing numbers one by one on both sides. Cross out this 33, cross out this 41, cross out this 33, cross out this 40, so on, so forth. Until you get to the middle, you'll get 35. Okay, so again, this is not hard per se. It's just tedious and very highly prone to error. Okay, notice I color-coded this. We could actually, instead of doing one by one, you could do a little more. So like cross that 4 over here, cross that 4 over here, cross that 7 over here, cross that 7 over here, cross that 3 over here, cross that 3 over here. And then by that point, you could probably pick that the middle is 35. Okay, so that's one way to speed it up. Another way is similar to how I color-coded this. You don't have to list out everything. Just keep a mental note, excuse me, when you're counting. So for example, this is the table that they gave us, right? So we want to get to the middle. So there's 4 on top. So let's count 4 from the bottom. So 2, 3, 4. Yeah? So cross out all of these mentally. You don't have to list all of them out. Okay, there's 7 over here. So count 7 from the bottom. So 2 plus 3, that's 5. So you need 2 more over here. So actually, this should be a 3. My bad. Okay? So when you're counting 7 from the top, you count 7 from the bottom. So 5, 6, 7. So you counted just 2 from here. So there's 3 remaining, right? And then you go on from here. you cross out 3 on this side, you have to cross out 3 from this side as well. So then you'll get that. The middle has to be 35 then. There's no more, the only unique term left after you kept crossing out is 35. So the middle has to be 35. Okay, and that's what this color coding was here as well. Exactly doing what I was doing just mentally with this table. So it's a little faster in that you don't have to list out all the numbers. And as a result, it's not as prone to error, but the error you got to be careful with is right here. Exactly. See, I'm in a mistake when I was typing it. So exactly there. You got to be careful when it's not even, like the 4 was even on both sides. So that was easy. But the 7, you had to keep track that you cross out only 2 from here. So there's 3 remaining. So that's the step that's prone to error probably. So you got to be careful. Okay, this is the fastest way now. Number 3. This is where we have to fully understand this concept that this is the middle number. Okay? Let's also remember when there's an even number of terms, you have to take the average of the 2 middle because there's 2 middle terms now when it's an even number of terms. So you got to take the average. When there's an odd number, you can directly pick the middle. So it tells us that there are 31 terms and 31 is odd, meaning there's directly a middle term. Okay? So now which one is in the middle? So let's think of some smaller sets to help us out. Okay? If there's 3 terms, the middle term is the second term, yeah? If there's 5 terms, the middle term is the third term. Okay? So what's the pattern over here? We can think of a quick formula. This is how we critically think, and we get to the answer in 30 seconds or less. Okay? The pattern we can think of is take the number of terms, divide it by 2, and then you just round up. For example, 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, and then we round up to 2. That's the middle term. 5 divided by 2, that's 2.5, round up to 3. That's the third term. So 31 divided by 2, that is 15.5. Okay, and then we round up to 16. So the middle term is the 16th term. Okay, so now we just count to 16. There's 11 here, there is 17 up to here, so then the 16th has to be 35. And that's how we get the answer quickly. One more time. If we understand the concept that the median is the middle term, we can use this quick shortcut to get the answer. There's 31 terms. It's conveniently all sorted out for us already in sequential order from least to greatest. There's 31 terms. How do we get the middle term? You divide by 2, and then you round up. That's the algorithm, per se. But to get this algorithm, I don't recommend you memorizing it. You have to understand this concept that it's the middle term. And then I critically thought of a formula to get there quickly. So I would recommend you to think of problems like this. And that's why I want to start the series off like this, to get you to start critically thinking of how to think through these problems instead of listing out every term, possibly making an error, even though this one probably not too bad if you leave out a term here and there. You'll probably still get 35, but there's a chance that you might not, yeah? So that's probably why, once again, they categorize as difficult. Don't do this, which is highly prone to error. Instead, get the concept, and you can quickly get the answer, which is the case for many math problems. If we get the concept, we can quickly get the answer.